New 911 calls and new photos of cars riddled with bullets at Crabtree Valley Mall.
There were bullets in the windshield, one in the roof, one in the door. There was another one in the trunk.
Hear from a woman who says her brother is scared to return to work after his vehicle was damaged in the gunfight.
Our Halloween is so warm, it's almost spooky. All time out a cool down, plus whether or not a line of storms to our west will bring rain.
Then we're examining concerns of election hacking. New at 7, our conversation with a man keeping an eye on election security around the world.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Let's get started with this breaking news here out of Durham. WRAL Sky 5 showing a building that was on fire in a neighborhood there in Durham. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Dan Haggerty.
And I'm Ashley Rowe. The perimeter around the building also in a line of flames. We've seen fire crews starting to get to the scene over the last 50 minutes. Brian Schrader monitoring this in the WRAL Live Center. Brian, Durham police just put out new information about an investigation near the fire. Give us the latest.
That's where all of this started. All of this happened in the past 90 minutes or so. We sent Sky 5 to Durham for a shooting investigation on Moorhead Avenue at Kent Street. I want to show you that video. Durham police say right around 5:30 they got a call of shots fired there. They got to the scene, found shell casings, but no sign of a victim or where bullets had hit any property. That scene apparently has cleared. No word yet on any other developments in that story. Now, while Sky 5 was covering that scene, it spotted flames not too far from there. Take a look at that outbuilding that was burning in the 1100 block of West Chapel Hill Street. You can see that ring of fire around there where the fire started at the building, then burned through the leaves. Nobody was injured. This was apparently put out pretty quickly. WRAL breaking news tracker Willie Danley was at the scene, and this is what it looks like now. Again, no injuries with that, but certainly sent smoke up there over that side of Durham this afternoon.
Wow. Quite the fire. Mm-hmm. The Wake County DA's office called it a cowboy-style gunfight, and this new photo shows just one of the more than 20 cars that were damaged. This is outside Crabtree Valley Mall when shots were fired. Look at that.
Also, yeah, wow. Also new today, we are getting a listen at some of the 911 calls that were describing those moments after those shots went off. And a second suspect, we can tell you, was in court on charges connected to what happened.
WRAL's Chelsea Donovan spoke with the sister of a man who went to work and then came out to see his car covered in bullet holes.
We are learning that at least 22 cars were hit by gunfire here at Crabtree Valley Mall. Many of them Macy's employees simply inside working. This is Kevin Kreutz's car. It was riddled with bullets when he was working at Macy's.
There were bullets in the windshield. There were bullets in the back window, one in the roof that came through the headliner, one in the door. There was another one in the trunk.
His sister, Kathy Holman, said her brother has been scared to go back to work.
He's like, I really think I should call out today. Like, I'm afraid to go back to Crabtree if employee parking lots aren't safe.
Around 2 p.m. on Saturday, Raleigh police officers responded to multiple shots fired in a parking deck behind the mall on Creedmoor Road. An estimated 22 cars were hit by gunfire. No one was injured.
Oh, they're shooting. Oh, I can hear them. I don't know which way to go. I'm staying in my car, but I don't know. Okay.
Newly released 911 calls reveal the panic that set in while so many people were just trying to shop.
How many shots did you hear?
At least 15 to 20.
Yeah, 15, 20. Back and forth at each other. Two people were fleeing back and forth.
After the shooting, Raleigh police arrested 24-year-old Jaquez Brown and charged him with discharging a gun into an occupied property, which is a felony. In court, prosecutors said he shot into a car with a 13-year-old and 15-year-old inside, describing the shooting as a cowboy-style fight between gangs.
There's no excuse and no reason for this kind of violence out in public areas.
Last night, Raleigh police arrested another suspect, 22-year-old Jamarian Burton. He, too, was charged with discharging a weapon into an occupied property. Burton appeared in court today and was given no bond. And damage estimates, according to an incident report I obtained right now, are hovering around $20,000. Chelsea Donovan, WRAL News, Raleigh.
There are roughly 50 gangs in Raleigh and hundreds more across the state, according to a retired gang investigator. It was the subject of a recent WRAL documentary called Easy Targets: Gangs Getting Younger in North Carolina. Crimes tied to gangs include, of course, things like shootings and robberies and drug charges. WRAL's investigative documentary team uncovered how the Raise the Age law was being exploited by gang members. Raise the Age, passed in 2019, meant 16 and 17-year-olds were no longer automatically tried as adults in North Carolina after serious crimes. Law enforcement officials said that gangs were using the law to recruit teenage kids, saying that they would not face those charges if they committed the crimes. Data backed all of this up. In 2019, juveniles committed 978 violent crimes in the state. In 2022, that number more than doubled to more than 2,300.
Tell me when you first were introduced to gangs.
Probably about 10.
I mean, when you were younger, were you in a gang?
Age 13,
14, 15 years old. Young kids with guns in their hands going to work for OGs in their 30s.
And so what you see are juveniles just running and gunning. They're carrying guns, they're doing carjackings, they're doing shootings, very reckless because the frontal lobe isn't fully developed.
Now, lawmakers have since rolled back parts of the Raise the Age law, meaning now 16 and 17-year-olds who commit felonies will now be sent directly to adult court. You can watch Easy Targets and all of our WRAL documentaries at WRAL.com or WRALdoc.com or the WRAL documentary YouTube page.
All right, let's get you caught up on other news of the day. Here are 5 things you should know right now. We'll start with this video. A man caught on camera destroying political signs. It happened at an early voting site in Raleigh this morning. The man stole and then ripped up several Harris Walls signs. You know, stealing or damaging signs is a misdemeanor offense. Witnesses reported his license plate number to police. The Board of Elections says it happened far enough away from the voting area that it did not actually interfere with voting. Microsoft is coming to North Carolina. This is the push alert we sent out tonight telling you about it. The company bought a 1,350-acre mega site in Person County. It's just north of Roxborough. Right now, we are still trying to figure out how the company will use this property and how many jobs it's going to bring. We'll let you know when we find that out. Download the news app to get those push alerts for free. Our new WRAL News poll shows the economy still the #1 issue driving voters in this election. Overall, 6 out of 10 voters rank the economy as one of their top issues. 56% of respondents said health care is a top issue. 54% said they're concerned about defending democracy. We'll have new results from the poll out tomorrow morning as well. Crabtree Boulevard will be closed for a few days due to a water main break. The problem spot right between Capitol Boulevard and Raleigh Boulevard. Crews are working right now to put a valve on the new pipe. There are detours up until everything is back to normal. And hey, UNC fans, you're soon going to be able to get some booze the next time you watch the Tar Heels basketball team play at home. Alcohol sales will start at the Smith Center on Monday during the men's team's season opener. They'll begin at Carmichael Arena, home to the women's basketball team, later in November. The athletics director says this move brings in more money as they prepare for revenue sharing with student athletes. The university already sells beer and wine at outdoor sports venues.
It is a great night to eat all the candy in the neighborhood, isn't it? Or save some for the next few weeks. Probably not. Probably eat it tonight. Meteorologist Kat Campbell live for us tonight in Oakwood. This neighborhood knows how to do it right. Kat, the forecast is really a treat tonight.
It is. No tricks in the forecast. The weather out here is pretty nice, don't you guys think? It's been a nice night. Can you tell me, how's the candy been? Have you really been filling up your bag?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You got a ways to go. It just got dark out here. Everybody's ready to go. The weather is perfect. We had 82 for the high today. So let's look ahead at your trick-or-treating forecast tonight. It's going to be around 71 degrees at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, still 70 degrees, and by 10 o'clock, we're in the upper 60s. It's dry, it's partly cloudy, and you may be hearing some rumbles of thunder behind me. Don't worry, it is all fake. The house here actually has a fake lightning and thunder setup, but it adds to the ambiance for Halloween. In the meantime, we all just get to enjoy this nice weather, and we get to check out everybody's awesome costumes out here in Oakwood tonight. You'll see more of those coming up in live weather in just a few minutes.
The face paint on the Angel, incredible. Kat, we'll check back in. All right, thanks. You know the election is coming up. You also know there is already some concern right now about how secure it is. Next, we ask someone who keeps an eye on election security around the world, is it possible even really to hack an election? And how stressed should people be about some things people have said could have an impact on it that we have seen happen in this state? That's coming up in about 3 minutes. The election is coming up soon. People have already started voting, and some people have already raised some concerns about how secure these votes are. We took some time to speak to someone whose job it is to make sure that things stay fair and accurate. Let me give people a little bit of a description of at least your title. So you do some work for the Office of Democratic Institutions and Human Rights within the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. That's a long title, a big name.
Yes.
To boil it down, though, basically you keep an eye on election security around the world, including the U.S. So can you give us a little bit of a sense of what that job looks like?
Right. The title is a mouthful, I admit, but in fact, it's a relatively simple case. What we do normally is that we arrive 5-6 weeks before Election Day, send out long-term observers, have a handful, well, basically more than a handful, about a dozen analysts, usually in the capital. The long-term observers and the election analysts do their assessment job. We come out with an interim report, and we are going to produce a preliminary statement about what we have seen and how we assess that.
A lot of people are concerned about the election systems and the security there. Can you talk about some of the safeguards that are in place? Is it possible to hack an election system here in the U.S.?
The answer partly depends on how broadly you conceive the election framework. It's obvious that it's much more difficult to hack the physical infrastructure of that is voting machines, for example, or counting machines, than, for example, hacking the email account of Roger Stone. Now, which of them has what effect is debatable. But if you have a broad picture, then there are much softer targets for hacking than the electoral infrastructure in itself.
We've had several instances here in North Carolina just in the couple of months, past few months leading up to this election, that have given people some concern. There was a delay in the delivery of some absentee ballots because of some legal issues with RFK being on the ballot in this state. Then there was a hurricane that moved through and created tons of chaos, and there's been some fallout after that as well. How is it that you can analyze or weigh some of those unanswerables? How do you know that a delay of a few weeks on absentee ballots could have swayed the election one way or another? It feels like an impossible question to answer.
No, certainly we are not talking about changing the outcome. There are very few instances where you can explicitly figure out what did change the outcome or what didn't, even after years of investigation into it, as there are cases in the United States for that. So by impact, we don't usually mean immediate impact in changing the outcome. In impact, we mean that it might have contributed to, for example, changing the nature of the voter information. Therefore, it might have an impact on how informed voters are.
You often give advice to countries to improve their election security. What advice do you have or suggestions have you had for the United States, or just simply to let the voters here know what is important when it comes to securing these elections properly?
One of them is that there should be a rethinking redistricting, for example. That has an impact actually on elections, we know, and we have a long-standing recommendation that redistricting should be rethought and possibly given to an independent body.
I do find it interesting that in the current climate, most of the discussion around election security is in the terms of fraud or some type of fraudulent behavior that's happening. But the one thing that you brought up was something that's baked into our system of government, which is redistricting and gerrymandering.
Right. Well, of course, I think everybody who knows something about how redistricting goes and how elections develop would know that this has a much bigger impact of whose votes counts to what degree than anything related to physical security of the elections. Now, the difference is that it became clear that this is something that needs to be looked at. By now, I think both sides usually claim that, yes, there needs to be something needs to be done about redistricting as well.
Can you speak to the importance of this type of work that you are doing? Because what we have learned over time is that these election results seem to be only as powerful as the belief that people have in them.
We believe that it can have an impact. We are in it in a long game, and we don't expect dramatic immediate changes because we made some recommendation. But if it builds up over time, actually it might contribute to some of the changes which could be useful to the voters as well.
Tomas, thank you so much. I appreciate your time talking to our viewers tonight.
Thank you very much, Dan. It was a pleasure.
Well, I hope that you are having a very happy Halloween on this October 31st. And what a warm day that we are having for it. It's bringing out all the kids, all the fun, and all of the action. And we have been chatting with meteorologist Kat Campbell, who has been live in the Oakwood neighborhood over the course of the evening. And look at all the cool kids that you've got behind you, Kat.
I mean, we got to give some credit to the homeowners that put on this show. It is incredible the amount of time and energy that they put into the decorations. It is truly remarkable. I mean, look at the crowds that this is bringing out here. And perfect weather definitely doesn't hurt. So let's get a look at the forecast for tonight for anybody who's just heading out trick-or-treating right now. Temperatures remain in the mid-70s. Yes, it is 7:20 p.m. on the last day of October, and it is 74 degrees. Actually feeling a little humid out here. 73 in Fayetteville, 68 degrees in Roxborough at the moment. It is going to be this warm again tomorrow. We expect temperatures to be in the lower 80s, and we're going to be in the low 70s Saturday and Sunday. We do have more clouds as we get into Saturday and a small 20% chance of rain on Sunday. So let's take a look at that. It's a cold front that will be approaching Friday night into Saturday, I should say. So Friday during the day, it's going to be nice and dry. As we get into the late night hours, I'm thinking after 8 o'clock, we could see a quick sprinkle passing through the area. Again, this is really not going to be a big deal for Friday night. I wouldn't cancel any kind of outdoor plans. We'll leave in that small chance for rain into early Saturday morning. This is around 8 a.m. It shouldn't last much longer than that, though the clouds are going to linger a little bit later into the afternoon. Temperatures are in the lower 70s for highs as we look ahead. 72 degrees will be the high on Saturday, so we did bump up that high for Saturday just a little bit. All right, let's take a look at your 7-day forecast. It is going to be a very warm week. I mean, after all, it is going to be in the 80s several days. We expect temperatures to climb into the 80s again tomorrow. We got a couple days in the 70s over the weekend. Some small rain chances by the middle of next week. And we're going to be right back up to 83 degrees again as we get into the middle of next week. All right, let's take a live look out here in Oakwood tonight. Historic Oakwood is packed. All these kids have been so patient, waiting to get on TV and show off their awesome costumes. It has been so nice out here tonight for all the trick-or-treaters. And I think it's my turn to maybe go get one piece of candy. I mean, I think I'll grab one. I'm in the cat ears, so you guys think I can pull it off tonight?
Kat, I think you did amazing work out there in the crowd. That was fantastic.
Absolutely. I love seeing all of the costumes. That's so great. Great job, Kat. Go have fun. Hey, tonight's One Last Thing comes from you. We asked for your best Halloween pictures, and you answered. So thank you for that. We're going to show them off next.
Before we go to break, we're getting you ready for the weekend as well. Let's line up 3 of the many things going on in our area. Here's what's happening out and about. Boy, we love having you here with us here at 7 o'clock. We want this newscast to be a conversation between us and you. So tonight, you are our one last thing.
And you have delivered. Let's take a look at some of the Halloween pictures that you submitted. I love these 3 kiddos doing the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy, you are absolutely adorable.
Captain Underpants, nice. And was that Dogman? Yeah, my kids read those books all the time, thanks to Nicole.
Oh, and the flamingo. Wow, that's impressive.
Don't get near any corners. Thanks for being with us tonight. We'll see you back here a little later.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.